The greatest power you possess is your ability to choose. Join Lowe's Moore as he reveals how you can begin to maximize that power by exploring yourself on the deepest levels and committing to making lasting and positive changes. Get ready to achieve breakthroughs that will lead to accelerated growth and transformation, because you are now tuned in to The Blueprint.
Why the actions contradict the lamb. I'm fellowshipping when I'm with the fam. That's more relations, that's forming a phonic.
Good evening and welcome back to The Blueprint. This is Lowe's Moore. And again, I'm excited. I mean, I hope you guys it seemed like right after 4th of July, it seemed like the summer's in a sprint. It's just like 4th of July and now it's August. And I hope you guys are getting in, some of us look at it as summer's the only time where we can really enjoy ourselves. And let me say this to you. I say, if you wake up in the morning, well, God blesses you to wake up in the morning. Every day you should enjoy yourself when you get up, whether it is summer, winter, spring, or fall. Right? You should be ready to go. You should be ready to enjoy yourself. Just like when I was one of my cousin Lori, and she came on a few weeks ago, and she was talking about travel. And I think as you get older, some people, just don't see travel as a time during the summertime, right? When you get older, you say, man, and retired, or you're just thinking about making your wish list. Right? Travel could be anytime, so why wait till the summer to travel when you can travel anytime you want to? Well, hey, if you can enjoy yourself anytime you want to, that's the kind of life you want to live, right? Anytime you want to get up and go, anytime you want to do something, you need to just go ahead and do it, plan it and get it done, right? And so, again, I want to thank you guys for your support of The Blueprint each and every week, man. I love you guys. And I love your comments. Remember, it's interactive. So, hey, if you have a question or comment for me or the guests, the guests that I have on each and every week, put it in the box, man, and we'll try to answer as many questions as we can. And if you don't mind, right, we're live on Facebook, Lowe's Moore The Blueprint on Facebook, and Lowe's Moore The Blueprint on YouTube. You can, if you don't mind subscribing and liking, do me that favor and do that for me. Right. And so, again, I mean, enjoy the rest of your summer. Have fun, and just have a real good time, man, each and every day. I mean, thank you guys for all your comments on Facebook for me and my wife. My wife turning 60, and then we celebrate our 40th anniversary. We got a chance to go to Charlotte, North Carolina. We had a great time. It was an amazing time, except for, and this is one of the things you have to accept when you travel now. Not that it's going to happen every single time, right? But we were on our way back home, supposed to be back home on Saturday at 8:30, leaving at 6, right? And they delayed us, right? And this is how I say, you just feel like maybe you're not blessed, right? Or you think you got something, you think you got a problem until you realize other people have worse. So we get canceled, and make a long story short, we get canceled, and we end up Sunday morning getting the flight back. Now we don't know where our luggage is, so. Then all of a sudden I'm calling every day to figure out where the luggage is. So far, our luggage showed up Thursday from Saturday. And when the guy dropped them off, I thought, I was a little upset, man. What is the airport doing? And he said, when was your bags lost? I said, well, since Saturday. Oh, okay, man, you got a blessing. I said, what do you mean I got a blessing? He said, man, I just dropped off a lady's bag from 2 months ago. I was like, okay, that is a blessing then. And the crazy thing is that we're planning on going away this week, but all our summer clothes was in the luggage. So we'd have to end up buying new summer clothes, to go on the trip. But we thank God that our baggage got here. So, enjoy your trip in spite of the travel, delays, whatever. You out of here, right? And then they could delay forever, long as you get home. That's what I say, right? But enjoy yourself. Have a good time. And so as we move forward, right? Let me start off with my book of the week. Well, I'm not going to name any books because we're going to talk about books tonight. And so here are my books of the week, right? Man, if you can see that, we're going to talk about these books later, right? And, we got just a lot of them. So I ain't going to mention one, Yeah, I'm going to mention one. I got Cruising on Desperation over here, right? And we're going to be talking about these books, and we're going to be talking about with the author of the books, right? And I'm a big fan. I'm a big fan of reading. And back in the day, I think their Barnes and Noble still around. I don't go to the malls all that much anymore, but every time I go to the mall, my wife's like, look, hey, we're not going to Barnes and Nobles, because I would just stop in Barnes and Noble and I got to get me a book. Right. And then not get a book, but I just be meditating in the studying books in Barnes and Nobles. But man, we're going to talk about a bunch of books tonight. So, wait for a few minutes and we're going to talk about a bunch of them. And then my word of the week, innovative. Right? Innovation, innovative. You got to be innovative. I mean, after we come out of the pandemic, man, this is a very powerful word. Innovate, innovative, innovation, right? I mean, I think in this day and time, you got to be creative, right? In this day and time. And this is my word of the week. And here's my affirmation of the week. When you change your mindset, you change your life, by Bob Proctor, man. I love that one, man, because it all has to do with our mindset, man. If we change the way we think, right, we can change the direction that we're going in, right? And as I know, there's a lot of people out here today that need to change their mindset, right? They thinking wrong, but I like Bob Proctor's affirmation. This is Pill Hopper, affirmation moment, quote an affirmation moment. And then here's my music and my movie of the week, right? The Black Nativity. Wonderful movie, right? I enjoyed it, but more than anything, I enjoyed the music. I enjoyed that it was a musical. And it just came to my mind. I said, man, there was so many great songs in the movie that I wanted to recognize the movie and the songs in the movie, the soundtrack. But I enjoyed it. I love seeing it every single around the holidays. I love seeing it. And then the other one is Eddie Murphy's 1,000 Words. I don't know if you got a chance to see this, since we're talking about books and we're talking about words and we're talking about affirmation, right? I don't know if you've seen this with Eddie Murphy. We've seen a lot of his movies, but this is one of my favorites. Whereas, somehow he only had 1,000 words before he died, right? It's a hilarious movie, but he was trying not to talk. A guy who was talking all the time finds himself only having 1,000 words. And he had a big tree. I don't know if you guys recognize, he had a big tree in the back. And every time he would speak a word, a leaf will fall off the tree. And then when the tree was empty, that means he would die, right? He was all spending, most of his time not trying to talk because he wanted to stay alive. I mean, if you get a chance to check that out, that's my movie of the week. And then my person of the week. Yeah, Viola Davis. I mean, any of you love Viola Davis? Can anybody tell me their favorite movie or favorite play that Viola Davis played in? I mean, she's in so many things. She's like Samuel L. Jackson, man. You just look up and Viola would be there, right? And But tell me your favorite. You know, I know one of my favorite, of course, I seen Viola Davis in Fences on Broadway. And then, of course, we saw the movie with Viola Davis. And yeah, the latest one is what? The Woman King, right? I really like that, man. She was tough in there, you know, and she got in shape for that, right? And yeah, but Viola Davis is my person of the week. And I think it got a birthday here. Man, there's a lot of them. See, somebody said all, and then somebody said the help, right? She was good in there as well. But let me do this birthday shout out. Juice. Yeah. Justin Juice Matthews. Man, happy birthday, Juice, man. Man, you looking a little snazzy there, man, with the bow tie on. And yeah, but happy birthday, Juice. And I think we can move forward now. I think we're gonna move forward. We're gonna have a good time. Oh, next week. It says coming soon, but next week, August 27th, right? My wife has a new book. This is her first written book. So What? Right? And we're gonna be discussing her book next week. Already, man, she's out the gate, man. People are getting that book and calling her for that book, and she's mailing books out, right? I'm proud of her. And let me just tell you really quickly, right? My wife had written a book, you know, probably finished it about a year or so before, probably during either the pandemic or just before the pandemic. And, you know, we were trying to find people who would publish it and, you know, trying to find different things like that, man. And, you know, and I guess it was my responsibility to do so. And you know, because I had my book published and it was already out and it's done. And it's been out for a while, a few years now, you know, and then she wrote her book and she just wanted to get it done, man. So, you know, Christmas, we figured it out. I figured out somebody who could do it, who could help her out. And they just got it done. And so I'm happy for her. I'm excited for next week to be able to talk with her about it. And, you know, a lot of the things in the book I've experienced, you know, hopefully, not hopefully, but with her. And we're going to have a good time next week. So join us next week. And so at this time, I want to show you this little highlight where it's going to be a little long, but it's okay. And then I'll introduce my guest for this evening.
Praise the Lord, Sister Walker. I didn't expect to see you here. What's the matter? You ain't got a quarter and call nobody? Maybe Sister Betty didn't want no company today. Who there with you? Brother Michael Austin. Brother Michael Austin. Oh, you mean Brother Michael Austin from Gospel Today Television? Well, son, this show didn't come up. Because I remember when Sister Betty used to have to put a coat hanger in her hand to use as an antenna to get your little old show. But God sure enough blessing you. Y'all come on in. Have a seat. And no, don't sit on my good stuff. Sit over there in that other chair, Sister Walker. Never mind about that book up under the leg. You got enough on your southern end to balance it out. Hold your leg out. You comfortable? Good. Now listen. I guess y'all just like them other folks here in Pelham, South Carolina, be all up my business. You must have heard I got that telephone call from Jesus this morning. Yeah, he coming by to see Sister Betty. Because, you know, I'm sweetly saved. Yeah, well, hold on. Somebody at my door. Oh, it's that little nappy-headed boy from down the street. He was here earlier today talking about he was hungry. I said, son, where your mama at? He told me he didn't know. I said, I didn't know either. But I gave him a couple of now-laters, told him to eat one now, save one for later. Because, you know, I'm sweetly saved like that. You know, it's been a busy day here for Sister Betty. Right after that little nappy-headed boy come here begging for some food, here come the stinking homeless man. Come up here to Sister Betty's house to my he looking for a church home. I told him I live at 666 and a half PMS Boulevard. This ain't no church. Oh, I helped close the door because, you know, the Lord is coming. And I didn't want all that stink to be in my house. Some woman come here to my door. Child, Sister Walker, she had everything exposed from her northern end and her southern end. Talking about she coming here to collect good clothes for some family that's burnt out down the block. I told her I ain't stupid. I ain't giving up my best clothes, because anything I got would be a whole dress anywhere. And obviously, she wasn't used to wearing no whole clothes. I slammed the door in her face. Can't be too careful. Okay, y'all just get on up out of here. Okay. Oh, Lord. Who that called me on the phone now? Oh, that's why I got to carry this phone around with me. I'm all swole, rheumatism and arthritis messing with me. How you do this thing here? Oh, wait a minute. Yeah, that's it. Hello. Sister Betty speaking. Uh-huh. Ooh. But Lord, I ain't, Sister Betty ain't trying to argue with you or nothing, Jesus, but you say you've been by here and I wouldn't let you in. I've been here all day. You could ask Sister Walker and Brother Michael Austin, Lord, I've been here all day. Huh? I wouldn't feed you. I wouldn't have service with you. I didn't give you my best. Lord, I don't understand. Ooh. You was that little boy that was hungry? Lord, you was that man that stank so bad? Now, Jesus, I know you wasn't that woman that was heavy. That was you too? But Lord, I was just trying to clean my house because you said you was coming. Lord, Sister Betty didn't know. Lord, Sister Betty didn't know. But Jesus, oh, Lord. Sister Betty just didn't know. I've been saved all these years. I've been shouting all these years. But I thought I was saved. I thought I was saved. I thought I was saved. Lord, I thought.
All right, Pat OG Walker. You all right in there? Oh, man. You had to laugh at that, right?
That happened years ago.
Yeah, I think we got a little talk a little bit for me so we can make sure we got that sound right.
Okay, year that was. I remember it was Gospel Today television, but I don't remember what year it was. And that was before I did the expanded one woman show that went on the road. And I know I did it in on cruise ships and theaters, and then I had a band with me and background singing. Well, God is good. I forgot all about that one.
Yeah,
Oh
when I
my
seen that, I was listening to it and it was just, I was just cracking up and I was just having a good time with that, you know.
goodness. Oh, you got me with that one. You got me.
Yeah. So real quickly, let's yeah, I knew that one that was way back. So that was good, you know. And you know, it's so crazy how I got connected to you. My sister texted me a while back and she was like, you know, Randy has a cousin and she sent me all the information, right? And you know, this that I guess is how God works, though. You know, I say, okay, and I looked at it, and then I didn't really look again. You know, then all of a sudden God brings back to my memory, oh man, Randy had a cousin, you know, and then I looked up, you know, looked through the Texas, and found your information and stuff like that. I said, let me give Sister Pat a call. And
I can't hear you.
you can't hear me? All right, can you hear me now?
I cannot hear you.
You can't hear me? Let's say, these things with the technology. Can you hear me now? Hello?
I'm sorry, but I can't hear you.
Oh. Yeah, you have headphones in?
No, I still can't hear you.
Let's see. I'm going to send you a text real quick. Check out your phone.
You want me to try it without a headset?
Yes.
Sister Pat, can you hear me?
Yeah, take out the headphones.
Talk, Lowe's.
Hello? Let's see. We're going to get it straight.
She has to unmute.
All right.
She has to unmute.
Unmute yourself.
Okay.
We're good to go now.
Was so busy. Yeah, he ain't gonna stop nothing. He's already defeated.
That's right. So, yeah. So, I was talking about how, got your number, your name, and everything like that from my sister Tracy, and you being Randy's cousin. Before we get going, right? Were you at the recent family reunion?
No, I did not make it. The one in Havelock.
Yes.
No, I was supposed to be there, but I became ill. To be honest with you, they had me on a medication called Manjaro.
Mm-hmm.
I think I pronounced it right. It's for diabetes, and it just took my system and just messed. It just had me all kinds of loopy ways. So I didn't want to take a chance and drive there, so I didn't go.
Okay.
Hopefully, I'll
Well,
be there for the next one.
yeah. Well, one of the three things I focus on is family, right? And so, family, faith, education. So I think I got a couple of pictures. I don't know if you've seen them or not, of the family reunion. Let me see if we
I've
got a
seen
couple of
bunch
pictures.
them.
We're going. Yeah, that was some of the pictures from the family reunion.
Yeah.
Yeah, because family's important. I mean, for the first time since the pandemic, I'm originally from Plymouth, North Carolina. For the first time, this 4th of July, we got an opportunity to go back to Plymouth, and my cousin had a huge barbecue, and a lot of my mom and everybody came down. So it's always good when you can connect with family, right? So when Randy was supposed to go too, Randy and Tracy was supposed to go down there because that same day we was talking earlier about my wife having a birthday on surprise birthday party on August the 5th. Randy and them was supposed to be in North Carolina, right? And of course they did not make it, right? You didn't make it, they didn't make it, but it just goes to show you how important family is. I mean, so talk to me, because where you're born and raised, right? All right, I'm not gonna give it away, but I mean, where you're born and raised, and talk about family. Talk about family growing up, and growing up in the great city of Mount Vernon, and just talk about that and bring it on into you know, getting married and different things like that. So talk about family and this great city of Mount Vernon growing up.
Well, yes, I was born in Mount Vernon Hospital. Um, spent I would say my first 10 years maybe in Mount Vernon before I went to South Carolina for a couple of years. Well, you go to South Carolina to visit Big Mama and whatnot. You stay a few years and then you come back. But in Mount Vernon, I attended two churches actually. Oh, there's my parents. Oh my goodness. Yeah, yeah, that's Lonnie and Margaret. Well, I'm a PK kid. My mother was Pentecostal, and my father, of course, pastored along with Reverend Dixon at Macedonia. So Baptist and Pentecostal. That was fun. And I attended Nathan Hale. I also attended Washington Junior High. Um, one of the, well, we all know that can I ask Denzel for forgiveness while we're talking, for teasing
No,
him
yeah,
while?
you can ask them for forgiveness.
Okay, please forgive me, Denzel. I'm sorry, I didn't know. Had I known how you were going to end up, I would never have teased you. So, I'm sorry. But so one of my biggest memories from Mount Vernon actually was a fire, and we lived on I think that was Seventh Avenue, right around from Centennial, and the house caught on fire. And I, at the time, I thought I might have been like, 5 or 6 years old, but my mother later told me I was only 3. But I remember the fire specifically because people were outside yelling for my mother to come out. And then, I remember seeing this big fireman come through flames, and he picked me up and he stuck me under his coat, and we went back through the flames. And when we got out, I remember white on the ground and wires hanging, telephone wires and whatnot. And fast forward to maybe about 15 years ago, I had an opportunity to go back to Mount Vernon to the library, and on I was able to look up the article that was written about it, and I found out that I was actually 6 years old when that happened, and the fireman's name was O'Donnell, but he had passed away before, by the time I found out who he was. So that's one of my biggest memories from being in Mount Vernon, was that fire and going through flames. And I could tell you, Lowe's, I could tell you where everything was situated in that house. What my mother was doing with my sister and whatnot. And it left a huge appreciation for, not only for firemen, but for anybody that would risk their lives, because I actually saw the man come through the flames.
Mhm.
I saw him come through the flames, and I remember being picked up and put under his coat, and going back through flames. So I always say that from that moment on, whatever God wanted me here to do, He was going to make sure I stayed here to do it.
Wow.
Because after that, I was hit by a Mack truck. My body was mangled. Several things happened since I left Mount Vernon. And I know you asked me about times in Mount Vernon, but listen, I had so much fun when I was in Mount Vernon. We'd be here all night talking about Mount Vernon. Oh my
Yeah.
goodness, yes, yes. Oh, family. Look at family. Oh my good. Well, well, maybe you don't know, but we have a lot of I don't want to say immigrants, but for lack of a better term, we have a lot of immigrants in our family. And I see two of my aunts from Cuba, and there's my Aunt Ovella, Uncle Jimmy, Stanley's, it's Uncle Stanley and Henrietta. Um, I see some in the back because I see Sylvia in the front. I see Ricky. I see I see Aunt Henrietta. Because we got some of everybody in the family, from Philippines to Japanese to Cuban to we're like the UN. So we had the UN in Mount Vernon. And oh, my sister Joanne. Joanne passed away. There's my brother Ricky. Where did you get all these pictures?
I got them from you.
You did? Oh,
Hmm.
my late husband. Um, wow, boy, I- I'm I'm speechless. Can I tell you a funny story about? Remember I told you how me and my husband used to make each other laugh a lot.
Right.
Well,
Yeah. Tell the
before I
story.
do that, this picture of us standing next to the big champagne glass.
Hmm.
I had just come out of the hospital because I had lost my sight. I had a infection in the brain area, and it temporarily took away my sight. And in order for them to bring my sight back, they had to put me on steroids intravenously. So by them doing that, I put on like about 20 something pounds in a week,
Mm.
just through the steroids. So that's what my husband whisked me away, to Cove Haven upstate, make me think that I was still, sexy. So that's how that picture came about. But a funny story about Rob and I, uh, he took me to Red Lobster in Queens, Valley Stream, I think it was. And I had never had crabs before. And this is when we were engaged, not married, but engaged. And I would not eat crabs. Didn't want it. It had nothing to do with it. And he kind of talked me into it. Well, I'm sitting there and the restaurant is, packed and everything. And I finally took a bite of the crab meat and I liked it. And guess what I yelled out loudly? Oh, I ain't never had crabs, so I met you. All my
Oh,
husband could do was just drop his head. So he had to marry me. Nobody else would want him after that. But
oh, that's hilarious.
yeah, we were.
I mean, what did he look? What did he say? What did he look
Dropped
like
his
when you
head.
said it?
He just dropped his head, and the waitress that was standing there, she just scurried away as if she was gonna catch something. But
Oh
meantime,
man.
I'm cracking crab legs, and I didn't know.
Oh
So
man.
I've always managed to interject humor into whatever was going on.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true, man. That's exciting. Well, I don't think we can really do. I mean, because scripturally it says, because the joy of the Lord is our strength,
Yes.
right? There's something special about joy, right? And there's something special about laughter, right? And you know, uh, seeing your book, and then I was I got one of your audio books I was listening to. Um, yeah,
I'm
called
sorry.
it's called Somewhat Saved, right?
Oh,
So I was
uh-oh.
listening to Somewhat Saved. I was cracking up, and then talking to my sister-in-law, Dee Dee, who loves you, probably one of your biggest fans. Man, she probably know all your stuff by heart, but you know, so everybody's excited to hear from you. But it's good to hear, from Mount Vernon. It's good to hear about family, good to hear about growing up. And it's good to hear that all of us, I think, have overcome so many things,
Oh my
and so
goodness. Yes. Yes.
and to know
Yes.
that we still here, right? To know that you still here, you persevered, and you're moving forward, right? And I love it. Before we came on, you said, right, I ain't finished yet. I still got more stuff to do.
Can I give you a little testimony?
Okay.
Back in 1997, um, I took um, a cancer test, a surgery test, and me and my husband moved. So as we progressed further, it ended up that my husband was diagnosed with cancer in I think it was 2001. It was later on in 2009. I received a call after I took the test again, that I had cancer. So we both had cancer at the same time. And
Mm.
when they went back over the records, do you know that when I took the first test in 1997, that's when this cancer was first discovered? And then all the way to 2009, and it had not spread. I never took chemo, never took radiation, never took pills. I had one surgery.
Mm.
They gave me 5 years, and I just celebrated 14 this past June.
Mm.
And when I tell you that I'm here for a reason, God has shown me on so many levels in so many ways that I'm here for a reason. And whatever it is, it's not done yet. So when
Yeah.
I told you that sometimes I feel like I just want to sit back and watch my K dramas, because yeah, I'm addicted to K dramas. God
um,
always sends something my way to let me know, nope, not yet, not yet.
yeah. Yeah. And that's why I said earlier when I first started, when you wake up in the morning, right, you just gotta enjoy life, man. Just gotta go
Mm.
for it. Right. And you just gotta go ahead and it's something you want to do. You just gotta go do it. I mean, you just gotta go plan it and do it and get it done, you know. Um, because if you don't, you sit around just waiting, and then I think the other thing is too is uh as we get into some of the other things that you gotten yourself involved in, I want to know how did you number one, let's talk about a little bit about your history in terms of something we were talking about before the show. I don't know if people know about, maybe they do. They know you a lot longer than I have. So talk about this whole music industry. I mean, when you
Uh,
talk about um so talk about your experience in that whole industry.
well, I started out, uh, well, there was a group called Arlene Smith and the Chantels. And when they separated, Arlene formed her own group of Chantels, of which I was a part of. So Arlene Smith, who was the lead singer, separated from the rest of the group and, like I said, formed her own group, the Chantels. So I was one of the Chantels with Arlene Smith. I was also with another group called Fantasy. And then to the corporate and did promotion and marketing records as well as records, um, Def Record. And I also had my own recording studio, which at the moment when I recorded Cheryl Pepsi when she was 16 years old. So, I knew Cheryl Pepsi Riley when before she was really Cheryl Pepsi Riley. And it's wonderful to know that she never forgot that. And then fast forward when she did Thanks for My Child with my other cousins, Full Force, I was at Columbia Records. So I had a chance to, hook up with her again. So I've worked with a lot of different people. I've worked with Michael Bolton, New Kids on the Block. Uh, who else was it? Um, oh, LL Cool J, which if you go on my page, you'll see LL Cool J hugging all up on me. I told him no, we can't, it ain't gonna work. So he moved on. I'm, I'm lying. But anyway, we were hugging. And I've just had the opportunity to work with so many different people. And I've had been blessed to interact with like Allison Williams. I love Allison. I mean, this class all by herself, Patti LaBelle, Nancy Wilson, and I'm sure I'm forgetting a lot of people. And then I went from there to managing some producers like Jay Dibbs, who gave me a song one time that he wasn't too crazy about, but I loved. And I took it to Brian Jackson and Michael and David Pearson, who was working at Mercury Records at the time. And I gave it to them. And a week later, I had a deal with an artist by the name of Joe. So I actually gave Joe his first hit. I'm in Love. And then I went on to work with Culture Don and Brown Man and other artists. And as a matter of fact, I was one of the executive producers for Culture Don's uh, album that he was going to put out with the Fugees. And that didn't happen because Columbia Records and Rough House Records decided they wanted to put out this little girl group instead by the name of Destiny's Child. So I always say that Beyonce owes me. She owes me big time because I sacrificed my album so that she could get out there and do her thing. But I've had an amazing career. But there came a time when that wasn't happening for me anymore, and I had to go back to what my second thing was, because I used to love to write. I love to write short stories and skits and plays and things like that. And when I was going through my little oh woe is me thing, I'm no longer part of the recording industry. I had a conversation with LaJoyce Berkshire, who at the time wrote the novel Soul Food. And
Mm,
LaJoyce told me, stop whining and crying and whatnot. Do what else you like to do? You like to write those little silly church stories. Do that. So I thought about it. And Lowe's, this is why I tell young people and people in general, when you're in a situation that you really don't like, because I wasn't really into promotion and marketing all that much. You stay there and you learn. You absorb what you're supposed to absorb. And even though I didn't like promotion and marketing, when it came time for me to put Sister Betty out, which at the time was a little 22-page pamphlet, I had to rely on what I had learned in the recording industry. Like, I didn't know that in the publishing industry, you don't put out a short story. But I
mm,
thought it was like the recording industry, like if you have an album, you don't put out the whole album, you put out a single. You kind of test the waters a little bit. So I put out this little 22-page pamphlet called Sister Betty, God's Calling You, based on, my skits and whatnot. And I used my marketing and promotion skills to promote it online because the little pamphlet that I put out only had a staple in the middle.
mm,
Don't spine or anything. And God blessed it to the point where libraries are ordering it, special order, Barnes and Noble, B. Dalton Books, Ingram distributors. People couldn't get enough of it. And I wrote the book primarily to show that we can't say that we love God whom we've never seen and be so mean and nasty to one another. Title
mm,
the church, there ain't nobody right but us, all others going to hell church. Pastored by the Reverend, not enough money, which the bishop was never called as overseer. And I gave the congregation names that were like satirical, like Deacon Laid Hands and Bishop was never called and Mother Pray On and, Sister Betty and her whole bunch of crazy, zany church folks. And I added another layer to it by putting in a character by the name of Joe Bill, who was an angel who got into heaven on a technicality. And that technicality, he couldn't get his wings until he helped Sister Betty turn that congregation around. So it was a play on things that people knew about the church, but didn't necessarily talk about the church. But I did it in such a way where there was a lot of humor, and I did not know that it had not been done before.
mm.
So that little 22-page booklet, major publishing deal with Kensington Books. And they ended up buying purchasing all of my stories. I think it was 7 stories. And they reissued it as a collection called Sister Betty God's Calling You Again. And that kind of launched everything.
Yeah. Bishop never called.
Was never called. And as a matter of fact, one book that I did not intend to write, but I had to turn in a book was called Mother Eternal and Everlasting is Dead. And in that story, we have the Reverend Not Enough Money talking about he got real happy one night and he told the church he was so happy to be saved. Now here this man been preaching all these years and he finally gets saved. And he's so happy he's telling the congregation, "Oh, I finally got saved." Do you know you know how sad that is, but true?
Mm,
There are a lot of people in a lot of you know people preaching that God didn't call; they just showed up, and he was one of them.
mm, mm, mm,
So I
mm.
tried to do that, not realizing that it was going to have such an impact. And as a matter of fact, I think it was in 2001, maybe, I received an award for creating a new genre of fiction, gospel comedy.
Wow.
So yeah, that's it's been an amazing career, and but sometimes you have to go through certain a process, as I like to call it, to get to where God wants you to be. Because I didn't
Right.
really think I was going to stay in the recording industry that long, but I needed to be there to get the skills to do what God needed me to do. So I tell people all the time, pray, always pray, ask God what it is, because I wanted to move out of it, but God was not going to move me out of it until He was ready to move me
Mm,
out of it, and I was ready to move on.
right. So I mean, but how did you you moved on, but how did Sister Betty come? I mean, where did she
My
come
goodness,
from?
where did she come from? Okay, when I was a child in South Carolina, Williamston, South Carolina, one of my sisters uh, was putting coal in the potbelly stove, and my grandmother had told her never pour kerosene on the hot coals. And she did, and she got burned. Fire traveled up her body, you know, uh, and it all up her neck and whatnot. So she was very raw and pink there. And they called this woman, this little short lady, and because they didn't have doctors, that would come out and whatnot. And she was called to talk the fire, as they call it, talk the fire out of my sister's body. And I remember standing behind, remember when they used to have the beaded curtains? They didn't have like curtains, just beads hanging.
Yeah, just beads.
You're probably too young. But anyway, it had the beads hanging. And I remember looking through the beads and I saw a lady dressed all head to and handkerchief back, back out, laid it on, and she started saying, mumbling, which I didn't know whatever. My sister had completely healed. You would have never known that she had been burned. I never forgot that woman. So when I created the Sister Betty persona, it was based on her, that lady that I saw, and her name was Miss Irene. So that's where Sister Betty came from. Plus, being a PK kid and this, by the time you would get to the church door to leave, somebody would say something crazy and you couldn't tell them off, you couldn't cuss them out or whatever. So I would always go home and write these little skits. And all of that together were the ingredients for creating Sister Betty.
Right. And I think we were having some little mic trouble.
Really?
If you just go back a little bit on
To where?
meeting the lady at the you with your sister.
Oh, okay. Um, just to sum it up, my sister got burned. She was completely raw, from the fire, and they called this woman to the house to talk the fire out of her body. And she was very short, dressed in white from the crown of her head to the soles of her feet. And she took something from a handkerchief and she chewed it. And then she spat it back out into the handkerchief and laid it on my sister's throat. and she started mumbling these words. I don't know if she was speaking in tongues or whatever, but in about a month, the scar was completely gone. There was no rawness, no pink, no nothing. It was
Mm.
completely gone, and my sister could talk again. So that was the image I had in mind when I first started writing the Sister Betty stories. And also the fact that, like I said, I was a PK kid. Both my parents were preachers, pastors, or whatever. So in listening to sermons, by the time I got finished listening to a good one and would get to the ready to leave the church, somebody would say something crazy. And I would just go home and just, because you can't cuss them out, you can't, tell them off or anything. So I would go home and write these stories, these little short stories. And that's how the Sister Betty persona came about.
Right. Yeah. And I mean, um, no, I'm not a preacher's kid, right? But I do remember, especially my grandmother, and especially when I was in North Carolina, every summer we had to go to church, right? And then my grandmother would call all the time back to New York and ask my mother if she was taking us to church, right? And so we can all just sit back and think about all the craziest things that we seen in church growing up, and all the crazy things that was said in church, and I never forget at Grace Baptist Church. My mom went to Grace Baptist, still goes to Grace Baptist Church, and I remember sitting there, and
Reverend
I guess
Franklin?
yeah, Reverend Franklin, uh,
Right.
yeah, and I remember sitting there, and I was a little kid, so I think a person got in the spirit, and you're in the Baptist church. So it's different than being in the Baptist church and getting the spirit, and
Mhm.
being in a Pentecostal church and getting the spirit. You're in the Pentecostal church, you can just run all over the place, right? but it, but it, but in the Baptist church, when the lady stopped flipping out next to me, right, I started screaming, and then they came with the smelling sauce, and then the lady laid down in the bench. I mean, so yeah, that's some crazy thing that go on in church. Oh
Listen,
man.
I get it. One of the things that I talk about in my one woman show that I went on later to develop was testify, as I call it, test the lion service. And in test and in test the lion service, there's a character that everybody seems to love called Sister I'm a Hellraiser. And I and Ima is very upset with the pastor's wife. So she's getting up to do her little testimony, and she's effect of now listen, First Lady, I'm getting sick and tired of you getting up here lying on me. Why are you telling everybody that you know it's me calling your house trying to get next to your husband? That's a complete lie. Because as long as I've been messing with your husband, I ain't never called your house. Do you know I actually heard that? Park Place in Brooklyn, Crown Heights. I actually heard that. So I didn't have to make up too much. Just about everything that's in there, I have heard somewhere, somehow.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, if you want funny, sometimes you can go to the church, man. You can get all the funny you want, you
Hmm.
know. So I think
And
that's why we can identify because with Sister Betty, because we go to church and we have these experiences, and so when you come on, right, you kind of like everybody's like, "Yep, I remember, I know that person."
oh yeah. As a matter of fact, my tagline was "Don't let worry kill y'all. Let the church folks help."
Oh man. So
So yeah, so I knew enough of those people to a couple of the church mothers that I created resembled some people, a couple of church mothers from my church, so closely till I got the word cut it out. We know exactly who you're talking about. and that was Mother Prayon, Sasha Prayon, and Mother Blister,
Mother Blister.
Mother B Blister. And they
Oh,
were always scheming on how to, supplement their social security checks. They always had something going on.
oh man. Yeah. So
So it was a lot of fun. A lot of fun.
yeah. So as we go back and forth, I got my sister-in-law on, my sister Dee Dee on, and when she found out you were on, she just went crazy. Uh, she called me up. She said, "Lo, you got Sister Betty on." I was like, "What? You got Sister Pat on there?" Like, and everybody started, and she started talking about all the books she's read. So Dee Dee, shoot.
Well, well, first of all, it's a pleasure. We met before at one of the sister conferences in Yonkers long time ago, and I was standing by your table, getting you one of your books and laughing and telling everybody about the characters. You said, "Well, you might as well stay here and keep selling these books." But the truth is, I love you. I could have talked about you all day long. I continue to do so. I am so excited that you are the queen and the inventor of the gospel comedy and basically making the most out of your passion. So I celebrate you, my sister. I seriously do. And I just appreciate all of the things that you do. I was explaining to my brother-in-law that I made the mistake of sitting down and reading, I think it was Sister Betty, God's Calling You Again, and actually laughed so hard I started getting cramps in my side. So I had to get up. And I guess the worst part about what happened was when I finished that book, I gave it to my father. And it sincerely, God bless him, he's gone 13 years, but it sincerely was the reason why I had to stop sitting next to him in church, because he started naming the characters.
Oh my God.
I said, "You're going to get us thrown out of here in a minute." But I don't know. I mean, the passion that you have, but I love the inspiration, just some of the characters that come out between. First of all, let's talk about some of these churches. No Hope Now, Mercy Never, and Ain't Nobody Right But Us, All Others Going to Hell Church. A little subjective there, but it's funny because when you walk into some churches, it's sad but true that you get people that feel like, okay, we saved you not, and I can kind of inspiration from some of that. But the pastor, the good Reverend Not Enough Money, and Reverend Bling Mo Bling, and the way they battled it out with Everlasting after her funeral, hysterical. That Mother Everlasting passed away eating a peppermint patty. I mean, I don't know where you come up with this stuff, but I heard myself laughing. And Lowe's, you always talk about a nugget. So here's a nugget for you directly from her book, from Mother Everlasting, Mother Eternal and Everlasting is Dead, when she said, "Every oak tree was once a nut that held its ground." I mean, and you sit back and you go, it's true, but it's hysterical. I mean, the part where you said Sister Peaches was black enough to be mistaken for a cave entrance. I don't know where you get this stuff from, but I hurt myself. I'm gonna tell you. I think I'm gonna have to get some stitches or something. You can tell, when I get to reading the books, it's easy to tell people about them what we love about them, about the characters. I do love Sister Alma Hellraiser. I do love her. She, but Sister Connie Fuse, Sister Carry On, Mother Prayed On's daughter, Deacon Luke and Warm. This, the license plate for the First Lady Bertha Bling. No, this was Mother Eternal's license plate. This be me. What? I was like, can that fit on? I sat there and I go, can that fit on the license plate? It actually will. I mean, I mean, just Deacon Player. Come on now, come on, you hurting us. You hurting us. I mean, I love it. I just think that as we look at these. Can you hear me? I'm sorry, it's like clicking. I just want to let you know that I love each and every character, even Sister Faker. I mean, Sister Faker's okay with me. The choir and how you talked about them and singing. Listen, if y'all don't have these books, y'all just gonna have to go out there and get them. And even the audios are amazing. When we drive, we sometimes drive back and forth different places, North Carolina and things like that. You can put these audio books on and laugh all the way down the road, and it's a real tribute to you, Sister Pat. I'm telling you, it's a real tribute to the fine quality of the work, even the scripture that's in there. I celebrate you. I thank you. I will continue to be reading. Whatever you got, I'm on that. I'm just surprised Tyler Perry didn't jump on it and start putting these on some of his shows with Medea.
Well, you know what? It's funny you should say that because I have had people come up to me before I knew who Tyler Perry was. And I remember being in my doctor's office, and she was saying that, there's this guy who has this play out. I think it was Diary of a Mad Black Woman or something like that. And I just
Hmm.
know he stole
Hmm.
your stuff. But I had never heard of Tyler Perry, so I saw the play, and I was laughing so hard. And I had to tell her, look, I do not believe he stole anything from me. And the black woman is overpowering Medea, that she's just a part of the
Yeah.
community. He had his, I had mine. But
Yes.
when you were reading from Mother Eternal and Everlasting, that was the book that I came up with at the last minute because I had to turn in a book. And when I got to I don't know if you remember the funeral, but the
Yeah.
funeral when the Ursha, when Sister Ivy the Ursha was fighting with the drunken nephew, girl, let me tell you something. I had so much fun writing that funeral because when they started fighting, when they were throwing punches and whatnot, and she, and he said, well, she said, well, you better not hit. No, he said, you better not hit me no more because I'm part Indian. And
Indian.
and he said, well, what part Indian are you? I got to be so scared of you. And he said, I'm part Slapaho. Well, you know what?
Slap a hole.
Not Navajo, not Arapaho, the part Slapaho. You know, I don't mean to laugh, but I had so much fun writing that
No,
book.
you can't help but laugh. It's just as
I,
bad as my seal hitting somebody in the head with a pig feet bone.
and that was my actual grandmother who only had one eye. She had one eye, and the story was the other eye had been kicked out by an uppity mule. So, so I had to put I just pulled from different places, different
Yeah.
experiences that I've had, and threw it in that book. But the
Ow, my
scene where
side.
Sister Alma Hellraiser was at the motel fighting with that white guy behind the desk, and that actually happened. I actually experienced that in Havelock, North Carolina. When I asked the clerk, I said, "Well, how much room, how much do I have to pay? What do you charge the working black woman or something like that? I said, don't you have a discount? And he says, no, ma'am. He said, we had to stop that discount because too many white folks was asking for it. Well, that ended up in the book because that actually happened.
Oh my God.
In Havelock, North Carolina. So a lot
Wow.
of things that you read, I have actually either heard, I don't have to make up a lot. I might embellish
Mhm.
it somewhat, but I don't have to make up a lot. But I actually had a lot of fun writing Mother Eternal and Everlasting Dead. And
Yes.
she died clutching the pulpit from the sensation of a
Yes,
of a
yes.
peppermint. I don't know where that came from. I don't know where that came from. Of a peppermint patty. And then Reverend Mo Bling, you wouldn't buy a peg leg.
Yeah.
He used a bicycle
Oh my
kickstand.
gosh, that with the clickety clack.
Girl, don't ask me.
Wait a minute. What
Deidre, don't ask
oh
me.
my
I just
gosh.
sat down because I
I
had to
could
turn in a book and it was just flowing. And it turned out to be one of my best books.
well
Wow.
that and I mean even when Sister
So
Betty was
thank you
waiting for
so
God to
much.
come and came 3 times and she missed him again. So I'm telling you,
Did we lose the sound again?
every piece of the book is worth uh can we and we got sound?
I think I lost
Hello?
the sound.
Can you hear me? Can you guys hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
No, I
I can
don't
hear
have
you.
sound.
Yes.
Okay.
Uh, Sister Betty, we can't.
Well,
Can you hear me, Sister Betty?
Sister Betty.
Sister Betty. Sister Pat, can you hear me? Well, D, I want to thank
Well,
you.
yeah, no problem. I just
Yeah, we're
think
gonna try
that
to get this sound together.
okay, stop
Yeah.
the camera.
I don't
Enjoy
have
the
Yeah,
vacation while you're out there.
yeah, we're in Atlantic City, and that's my granddaughter Cameron. But definitely, we're still even down here. We were still listening to audiobooks. So, just
I don't know how to
appreciate
do
everything
that.
that. Yeah. Well, listen. Well, I'm gonna show you how to do
um
it so that we can make sure that we recommend to others that you just connect it to
Ro-
your
Rose,
car
you take
on the
over.
phone,
I
and
really don't know how to do this.
yeah,
So
it's
yeah, I'm
definitely
gonna try
worth
to
it.
work her through, D. Thanks a lot.
Yeah. Okay. All right
Love
then.
you.
Take care. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. All right. Sister Pat, you there? Sister Pat, you there? Sister Pat. Randy, what's up, man?
Okay, Los, what I'm gonna do is
How you
lock
doing,
her
man?
off and bring her back. Okay, hold on.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
How you doing, bro?
I'm good, and you?
Too blessed to be stressed, man.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
this move was a journey, man. It was an adventure, but moving on.
Yeah. So we
How's everything, man?
trying to get Sister Pat back.
Yeah, I haven't spoken to her since my brother's memorial. And then we were supposed to go down to reunion the 4th, 5th, and 6th, which didn't happen. Complications with baby girl.
Right.
Which turned out to be a blessing in disguise because we were going to leave one of the cars down here, and it turned out that we really needed that third car to transport some of the stuff, from the house in New York. So that's God working, man.
Yeah.
Fly
Let's see if we
Tracy,
got
man.
Sister Pat here. I'm gonna tell her. I'm gonna call her. Let me see if I can call her, and then
I think she said she can hear. Can you hear, Sister Pat? You can
Okay.
hear. Okay.
All right. All right. Can say is can you we can't hear you now though.
But she can hear us. What's up, cuz? It's your cousin Randy. Wish I could hear your voice, but I heard you talking to D. So sounds good.
Hold on 1 second. Give me 1 second. I'm Tree, should I have a log back on? Yeah, we're having a little technical difficulty here, but hey, technology is not perfect.
Okay.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you, but just log back on. Go back on, back in the same way.
Okay. Do I leave the studio? Is that how you do it?
Yeah, you and
Yes.
just click back on it. Get out, totally out, and get back on it.
Good to see you, Brother Randy.
Yeah, we have a little technical difficulty.
Me.
That's all right. It's good, you know. It's a good show, and that was a very hilarious. Your cousin is hilarious, man. I don't know.
You have no idea. You know, this is a polished version. You should see her when she's sitting in the living room with you. But they all like that.
So tell me about how y'all are related.
She's a first cousin of mine. She is the daughter of one of my father's brothers.
Yeah.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Hey, Randy.
What's up, cuz?
You.
Good to hear your voice.
Good to hear yours too. First cousin.
Yeah, so you're both in North Carolina now.
She doesn't know. I don't know if Chucky told you, but he was aware of the move. We're down here in Fayetteville, you know, permanently. Just bought 2 acres. You know, going to close sometime soon. Tentatively, they said the 12th, but we're trying to push it up because we need to move in. You know, our pods, we got 3 pods that should be down here tomorrow. So we close.
Yeah.
And my son has always talked about we always going to my wife's side of family reunions. How come we ain't going to the George? And then when we was in Kirby and I were in memorial at Reese's wife's funeral, I saw Rick. Rick wouldn't even talk to me, man. He was like, yo, man, you go to everybody else's reunion. You don't come to the George reunion. What's up? So that's going to change, being that we only 2 hours away from Moorhead.
Yeah, I'm in Statesville.
Okay.
About 45 minutes from Charlotte.
Oh, okay. In the other direction.
Right.
All right. Well, it's closer than
closer.
My wife has been looking forward to talking to you because her book is finished, and she has been in touch with a couple of publishers about that. And, you know, she needed some mentorship, basically, not to be trapped off or taken advantage of due to her lack of experience. You know, so she's looking forward to talking to you.
I did get the message, but I've had some health issues myself, and I've got 3 books that I have to put out. So I've been, you know, and I really don't like saying, okay, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, because I promise you, every time I do, something falls on my plate that I have to finish. So, and I have 3 books that are coming out in 24 and 25 that I'm trying to finish. And one book I just told my editor I can't do. And Randy, I don't know if you're aware of it or not. I know Uncle Albert had confirmed it to me. Did you know that one of our great great grandmother's sister was an Indian chief? She was a female Indian chief.
I remember talking to my father and Uncle Jimmy about that, and they actually showed me a picture of them in a full headdress, and it was, I can't find that picture to save my life, but yes, I was aware of our lineage uh, with that.
Story. I was trying to do a story on that about her, but I went to the Carter Cemetery in Havelock and I found our great grandmother's Hepsie's gravesite. I found her gravesite, and and our grandfather Napoleon. I don't know if you're aware of it or not, but when they had the big storm off the Atlantic, his grave was washed away. So I
Mm-hmm.
was told was washed away into the Atlantic, because we never had a picture of him because the Indians believed that any image that you had to be buried with you.
Mm-hmm.
So I know I never saw a picture of him, but then I found out I think last year that it didn't actually uh, go out into the Atlantic. It ended up at the foot of Carter Cemetery at the bottom. So my intention was to do a story about her, but then these other books, I had to finish those first. So I may go back to it, and maybe we can chat. You can tell me what and I'll try to incorporate it into what I know. Maybe we could, do it together. But when I
Okay.
asked Uncle Elbert about it, I said, I found out about it through Ancestry.com. And I asked him, I said, did we had an aunt that was an Indian chief. And he just simply said, yeah, I know. And that was the end of it. And then he passed away. So I never had a chance to, to
Yeah.
delve into it any further.
Okay. Whatever I can do to help, Well,
Yeah.
let's just stay in touch. This is something a story that needs to be told for our family. So
Yeah.
Yeah, we
that's
I was telling,
wonderful.
Lowe's, our family is like the UN. We got so much in there, we can't get mad at nobody.
That's true.
we got some of everything in that family.
That's true.
Yeah. And I wanted Randy to jump on because you guys didn't get a chance to get to the family reunion, man. I know Randy was looking forward to it. And I knew you were looking forward to it as well. But hey, I just want you guys to kind of holler at each other, get reconnected, and Randy, thanks for popping on, man. Appreciate you. Tell everybody down there I said hello.
We'll do. It's Sunday, so everybody just went home like 20 minutes ago.
I know.
They was over here for dinner,
Yeah.
What Doug does for Sunday dinner.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
All right. I'm gonna finish up with Sister Pat here, and I'll
Love you,
talk to you
Pat.
later.
Hello.
We'll do, and let's stay in touch.
Okay. Bye-bye.
So Sister Pat, man. Talk about all these books, man. I mean, as we come to, getting closer to the end, we've had some ups and downs with some of the technology. It's not perfect, but this has been a great show. And so talk about some of the books and the different variety of books. I mean, you were just talking about all the Sister Betty, books, but you got a lot of stuff behind you. And I popped up a couple of things. One that intrigued me was Choices. I didn't get it yet, but that was the one that intrigued me as I was looking through all the different books. So talk a little bit about the different books that you have.
Well, Choices is relatively new. That book is part is autobiographical. and some was fiction, and more or less, I just revealed everything in it. You know, the good, bad, the ugly, and everything in the book, and it was it was a chance for me to let people know I'm not perfect. I've done some dumb stuff in my life, you know. Um, it also I also get a chance to talk about that. Even though I was a PK kid, I got caught up in a cult, not knowing that it was a cult. And I've been married twice. And my first husband, I had only known for 3 days before the church told me that God told them that this is the man I was supposed to marry. And he was on his way to Vietnam. So that was a time in my life that choices were made that really were detrimental to not only me, but my children. And so I talk about that, and I don't want to give too much away, but you can pick it up. It's on Amazon. You know, you can pick it up through Amazon, and as well as I think Barnes and Noble and a few of the book formats. You can get it either in ebook format, or print book. As far as Heaven Can Be Hell and Fire in the Water, that's part of my Elements uh, series. I have one more book I have to put out in that series. And then basically, I got really, I don't want to say raw, but I had to tell it like it was because being Sister Betty, I had a chance to travel around a lot. And being an author, I had a chance to do a lot of book clubs. And one of the things that I heard a lot about was from pastors' wives talking about their marital situations. And I had a chance to address that in Heaven Can Be Hell because, for whatever reason, people seem to think that nothing, and I don't like the word kinky, but for lack of a better term, goes on in the pastor and first lady's bedroom. And I wanted to show that the matrimonial bed is undefiled, and how sometimes God can put you in a situation where you have to know certain things before you can, you know, give therapy or counseling to other people in that same situation. So it's about this couple that went through that and how God ended up using them despite everything that just blew up. That was book one, and then book two was called Fire in the Water. And we have to be careful when we decide that we want to take revenge on people. You know that old adage, when you dig one grave, dig two, when you want to take revenge. And we don't have to do that. Let God be God. You know, sometimes we go through bad things because we needed to go through it. It's part of a process. So in that particular story, it just shows how we need to just sit back and let God be God. And I'm kind of, shortening it up. But if you go on Amazon or wherever, you can, read the full synopsis and whatnot. And Certifiable is coming out next year. That's going back to my humor. It's yeah, it's about a retired NYPD detective and his crazy wife who decide they're going to start a investigation agency called Thirsty Investigations, and they are really crazy. They use some really crazy methods to solve, crimes, and it's all the crazy people, and it's set in Harlem. So it's all the crazy people that they come in contact with, and it's a fun series. And what else I have up there? Oh, Queen of Kingston. That was written with another. I mean, this author J.L. Campbell is fantastic. She and I were able to write a story together, part of the Queen. excuse me, part of the Queen series. I belong to a group which maybe um, you might want to check out. It's called Tribe. I'm sorry for coughing, but it's called Nalena Kai's Tribe Called Success. And we are a group of writers who promote and help one another. And in doing so, we've been able to collaborate on a lot of books. I'm sorry, you would have thought that I would have brought some water with me, and I didn't. So that's
That's all
one
right.
of that book was like was number one out the gate with J.L. Campbell. Like I said, she's a fantastic writer, and I know I have more books up there. You know what? To be honest with you, I've written so many. Sometimes I forget. I forget how many I've written or what they're about because people also have to understand, especially readers, that when an author writes a book, it's not like we write it today and it comes out tomorrow. It may not come out for 2 years. And in the meantime, we've moved on and started writing something else. So sometimes I have to, go back and say, okay, what was this book about?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. And before you
it's
get
an
off,
idea.
you talked about kids. Talk about a little bit about your kids before you get off. Kids, grandkids.
Excuse me. Well, I have three daughters. One is a scientist. Right now, oh my goodness, look at all them kids. Right now, she's a scientist, but she's with the Museum of Natural History in New York. That's my eldest daughter, and she also helped develop the alarm system for volcanoes in Guatemala. So, and then my middle daughter worked as a legal, what do you call legal? Not legal aid, clerk. I'm sorry, legal clerk. And then my youngest daughter, she is okay. Now she's got so many degrees, I don't even know what to call, but she's like a nursing. She's like at the top of the nursing career thingy, whatever. She's always going to college, grabbing another uh, degree or whatever. I have 14 great grand. I was 14 grand. The one that you just showed a picture of that I raised, she's autistic. I actually have one autistic granddaughter and two autistic great grand. So I have 14 grand. The one in the red, well, she'll be 60. The one at the bottom there in the
Right.
black, that's John A. That's the one everybody on Facebook knows. She's an actress. She actually did the play Shrek Jr. this past spring. So she's autistic and she's echoleric and whatnot, but she can sing. I mean, this little girl can blow, as they like to say. Then I have another grandson. The one in red went on to football, and he now has his own trucking company. The one on the opposite side with the black shirt, he's my eldest grandson, and he's a theater major, but he also works for the Department of Defense.
Okay.
So, and who else is in there? My granddaughter-in-law is in there. Um, oh, well, anyway, it's three daughters, 14 grand, 14 great grand, and I say that with a question mark because I have a couple of grandsons and I'm sure they have not heard from everybody.
Right.
I have found more grandkids on Facebook, great grand on Facebook, and that's pretty much it, for my immediate family.
Yeah.
Oh, and I have dogs. Everybody knows I love, 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 love. I love dogs sometimes more than humans. So I have two
I,
dogs that are in my will. One of my grandsons asked me why would I put the dogs in the will, and
I
I
think I
told
got a
him,
picture
well,
of them too.
yeah, oh, I love them. They're right here, right under me. I told him I put them in my will because I like them. So he's not in it, but they are. And I just love animals. Period. But I have a special love for dogs, all dogs. So I have a Shih Tzu Yorkie and a Chihuahua Dachshund, and my middle daughter has a pit bull, and my youngest daughter has a pit boxer. So we have a lot of dogs in the family.
Yeah, I seen that when I was looking at some of the pictures.
Yeah, those are and yeah, they rotten.
Yeah. So, Sister Pat, man, this has been amazing in spite of the technical things. As we know, technology is not perfect, but man, this has been a good show, man. We laughed a lot, man, and man, your creativity, from Sister Betty to the writing of the books. I mean, a perfect example of what people can do, right? And I do appreciate you. And man, I'm gonna get a few more books, And I seen you had the marketing stuff over there, on your little sign there. So yeah, before you go, talk to me about a little bit about the marketing stuff real quick. There you go.
Okay. The marketing stuff is actually a collaboration of various authors from my writers group, Tribe Called Success. And everybody in the group has had is either a national best-selling author or Essence best-selling author, USA Today best-selling author, New York Times best-selling author. So everybody had put in their input as to what got them to where they are. And we deal a lot with marketing and promotion. And we're a family of authors who believe in helping one another. We do not believe in jealousy. There's no big U's and big me's and little U's and stuff like that. So in the book, you will find different techniques, different experiences, what worked, what didn't work, and it's kind of like a shortcut so that you don't have to make the mistakes that we made at one point in time.
Mm-hmm.
And so I suggest that you pick it up, or anyone who wants to write. And because what do you do once you have the book after you've written it? If nobody knows about it, you just have a book
That's
that you
true.
wrote. So,
Yeah.
and in today's market, there's a lot of competition. So, you have to stay up to date. And then I'll tell you one other thing before we go. One of the worthwhile pieces of advice I received as an author came from Dr. Maya Angelou, who told me back in the 70s when I expressed to her that I was writing and how one day I wanted to put out a book. Whenever you write, be honest. Lowe's, it took me a long time to understand what she meant because, that's Dr. Maya Angelou. I'm not going to say to her, well, what are you talking about? What do you mean? I just nodded, but I
Yeah.
never forgot. And it took me a long time to understand what she meant was write what you know, your authentic self. Don't try to follow the trend. Don't try to, copycat somebody else's writing because the reader will know when it's not you. So I say that to authors or people who aspire to write. I tell them the same thing that she told me. Be honest. Don't try to do what I do because I didn't do what anybody else did and I became successful. You can
Right.
too. Right. Be you. Just do you. Somebody needs to read what you wrote.
Mm.
They've already read what I wrote. They need to read what you wrote or what you write. So just be honest when you write.
Awesome. Well, I want to say thank you. If you hold on for a moment, I'm going to sign off tonight's show. I want to thank each and every one of you. I do apologize for maybe any of the inconvenience in regards to the technology. Maybe it seemed like Sister Pat or Sister Betty, or AKA Sister Betty, was saying like the devil don't want you to hear this stuff right here. That's why we had to repeat some things because you needed to hear what was being said, right? And you also need, if you want to laugh, if you want to get joy, right, you should pick up some of Sister Pat's books, right? I'm starting to read this one here, right? Cruising on desperation. And already I started laughing. You know, I started thinking how funny it was. And we do need to read things. We do need to watch things that are going to bring joy in our lives. And more than just joy, right? We need to read things that are going to help us grow, right? We need to listen to things and watch things that are going to help us mature. That's going to help us grow and develop and become the things, the person that God wants us to be, right? We all have purpose and we all have assignments and we all have gifts to fulfill those assignments. So again, I love you guys. Thank you for your support each and every week. And I say this all the time. If God allows you to wake up tomorrow, make tomorrow your masterpiece. God bless you. And I'll see you next week.
Thank you so much. I really truly enjoyed and thank you for reading my question. So good night.
We really hope you enjoyed this episode of Lowe's More, the Blueprint Podcast. Stay connected and follow us at our website, www.lowesmore.com. That's LOWESMOORE.com. You can also join the discussion on Twitter at Lowe's More and on Facebook at Lowe's More Jr. As always, thank you for pushing your mindset towards a better reality. This concludes the most thought-provoking portion of your day. Don't forget to like and subscribe to this podcast to stay fully up to date with everything we're up to. Until next time, be kind to yourself and each other.
What they teaching is a joke. I ain't buying it like I'm broke. Insufficient funds for insignificant.